Muted's visit to Clip's cat-eating sweatshop. Act 1. Sniff. Sniff. Muted sniffed the poor 12-year-old's rectum. He sniffed it for a much long time. He was like a wolf, snooping around in the boy's private regions. He violated his rights, and then his family. The boy was crying, "Save me, John Cena." But Muted had already killed John Cena in a 1v1. He quickscoped his ass with the locus. Muted continued to shove M&Ms into the boy's rectum. He had an evil, sneering smile as he inserted the sweet lollies up the sour ass. He kept shoving them until his bowl, and the boy's bowels, were no more. It was 11 p.m. He needed more M&Ms, and all the stores were closed. The only store that he knew was still open was Will Chow's meat shop. It had all sorts of shit since it was an Asian shop run by some random Chinese dude. Muted used to be a poor boy sitting in the sun all day, putting wax onto his hardwood. He had to do it while it was dry because the hardwood could not get wet. If it did, the wood would no longer become hard, and his employers would become disappointed and fire him. The needed Muted's wood to be hard so they could use it. This past experience of wood wetting taught Muted that you couldn't trust anyone, not even the super smart Asian dudes, so he had to be careful when checking out the store. Muted got in his Cuda, which is what he called his Hitai Sultan RS, and drove off to Will Chow's wild ride. He slammed down on his shitty pink car, leaving the 12 in the trunk but not before taping his mouth over. Muted was going to say his catchphrase, but then he realized that he didn't even want to adopt the faggot. He hit the brakes and walked over to the trunk of the car, holding his crowbar. Muted opened the trunk and slapped the kiddo over the head with it. Both of his heads. Then he dragged him over to the nearby bridge and said, "Get kicked, kiddo," before kicking him off the bridge. The faggot shat a trail of smelly shit as he fell down. "Ha lol, you're shit, cunt. Go get molested by a polar bear," laughed Muted as he skipped back to his Hitai mobile. Act 2. Muted pulled up to the Asian store and saw that the lights were off, but he knew that those Asians were still open. They just turned the lights off to save power. Those cheeky bastards. Muted opened the door and that stupid fucking cheap electronic doorbell came on with a retarded Chinese tune. Muted slapped the shit out of it before going to the customer service panel. There was an old Chinese dude there dressed in traditional clothing. He had glasses and a comb-over haircut. "Hey you! You pay for breaking," he yelled. Muted replied, "Fuck up. Give me some M&Ms or I'll come in your pickle jar." The Asian guy responded to Muted, "Oh, those aren't pickles. They're dried cow testicles." Muted was shocked but also turned on. "Oh yum." He went slurp 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 as he ate the entire jar. Now the Asian guy was even more pissed. "You eat without pay. You leave Happy Lucky shop now. Or what? Or I'll kick your ass. I know kung fu." Shit just got serious. "All right, fight me, bitch," yelled a pissed-off Muted. Suddenly, the Asian dude flew up and drop-kicked Muted right down. Muted groaned, "Ah. This fucker's hacking OI. He's got aimbot." It was at this moment that the wooden wall from behind Muted broke open and out flew Will Chow, the store manager. He headshot Muted with his foot. "You no mess with the Asian clan or we do punishment." Muted was now very sore and angry. "Ah bitch, I call wall hacks." He then switched to his surrender action and surrendered to the Asians. "Fucking yellow bastards, you'll pay for this." The Asians disagreed. "Now you buy meat or get kicked out." Muted had never been kicked before. He was always the one that kicked others. Fine. I buy meat, shigchog. The Asians grinned with a satisfied smile. Muted looked at the stinky meat behind the dirty glass. This looks like absolute shit. It's like you just picked up roadkill and shoved the meat in here. The Asians looked at each. Muted bought some meat, but then something caught his eye. There was a secret door that led to the back room. The Asians saw him looking and said, "No. You don't go there. It's private." "What, private like your massive Asian porn collection?" The Asians got ready for battle, but it was too late. Muted busted into the back room and saw hundreds of cats and kittens being skinned and chopped up for meat. "I knew it, you fucking Asian cat eaters." Unfortunately for Muted, the Asians had him surrounded. He was in a sweatshop full of child slaves who were paid 1 cent per cat. It smelled like wet pussy, but maybe that was just the cat guts. Every single one of these children knew some form of martial art, so they surrounded Muted and beat him down. Act 3. Muted woke up and he was in a dark rape dungeon. It was cold and scary. "You know our secret, white boy. Now you must be silenced," said the Asian from the customer service panel. Will Chow then put a hand on the man's shoulder and said in a perfect British accent, "You can quit that stupid fucking Chinese accent. This bitch won't live to tell anyone anyway." Muted was both equally scared and annoyed. "What are you gonna do, stick me with your tiny Asian dicks? Turn me into cat food? Or sacrifice my cunt then harvest it, huh?" The Asians were not going to do any of them. Instead they said, "We will put a PlayStation 4 in front of you and torture you by not letting you experience the PC Master Race." "What? Fuck, you're dumb." The Asians set up the console and gave Muted the controller. The Asians started to laugh hysterically in the background as Muted saw that the only game on the PS4 was Assassin's Creed Unity. "You patched." Muted stared in horror at the terrible frame rate and numerous bugs and glitches. Suddenly, just before he reached the end of the first level, John Cena's head popped up on screen and his theme started playing. "What the actual fuck is this retard shit?" commented Muted. Then from behind him popped up John Cena himself. "Hi, kiddo." Muted was shocked. "What? But I fucking 360 quickscoped you. This fucker's got like God mode on." John Cena was not pleased with Muted and so he punched him so hard that he went flying right into the PS4. "Good. It was a fucking piece of trash anyway," said Muted. John Cena said, "I made a deal with the Asians right before Will Chow stuck a machete right through his body." As John Cena fell to the floor, Will Chow commented, "Never trust a nation because they will always totally betray you in the end." "Oh yo. That's dope," yelled Muted as Will Chow threw him a custom VMP. Will himself had an ICR. "It's me, Clipstreamster. From the Xbox," he said, and Muted immediately recognized him. The customer service panel man picked up a war machine and the three went out into the night to molest some kiddos. The end.